must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
From 1992 in Kenya, elections have always been divisive in the form of violence, in the form of malpractices, in the form of all types of gerrymandering that has led to chaos that we have seen that has engulfed this country since independence. The biggest obstacle of the Kenyan elections is a very simple way out. The obstacle is we have never changed the forest. We have changed monkeys in the forest. If you want to cure the Kenya elections, you get a cure, a permanent cure for the Kenya elections. Change the forest. The monkeys will not come to that new forest. Reforms have been done around the Kenyan elections. Rules, regulations, laws. Are these laws enforced anyway? The answer is no. Most of the people break it, go with it, create chaos after they have not been punished. So the basis of the BBI is to interrogate the chapter, the seriousness of why elections produce violence every 5 years. Why do people fight? Yes, someone would say they are linked with tribal cocoons that conduct themselves or take part in the elections. The answer could be clearer, nearer there. But the solution, therefore, to safeguard, even if it is tribal. South Africa has got the biggest tribe, the Zulu. But still there are safeguards in South Africa that have safeguarded an election. That the Zulus don't dominate the entire South Africa because the electoral systems are safeguarded by principles and institutions. The institution of elections in Kenya and in many African countries has always been the product and has always been an institution that produces violence. Everywhere on the continent, you see electoral commissioners confused in reading their election results. Some of them don't even know the results. Some of them don't know how many votes were garnered by both parties. To avoid this mess, Kenya needs to look completely and put emphasis on the electoral reforms that are needed so that in 2022 there is no violence in the elections that will be conducted. For this reason, therefore, I would urge the chairman of the Electoral Commission, Mr. Chebukati, to say bye-bye, because he has held several controversial elections that we have seen, including under his auspices, one election nullified in the history of Africa. Thank you very much, viewers.
which is the 5th of January 2021. My name is Miriam Ogutu. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're tuned in today. It is a pleasure to have you on the show. This is Good Morning Africa, and on this show we get to look at the news making headlines across Kenya and others across Africa, and we do that by going through the 3 leading newspapers here in the country, that is the Standard newspaper, the Daily Nation, as well as the Star. And joining me this morning on the panel is Jevan Karanja from Nanyuki. Jevan, good morning.
It's a very good morning, Miriam, here in Nanyuki. Good morning to our co-panelists, Kidi, Douglas, and good morning to our viewers wherever they are watching us from. And because we are still on the first week of the new year, Happy New Year, and they continue the year of blessings, the year 2021.
Very well.
Thank you.
It's a Happy New Year then. All right, and we're also joined by Kidi Moga, a lawyer from Nairobi. Kidi, good morning.
Good morning, Miriam. Good morning to our viewers. Good afternoon, good evening, depending from where they are watching us from around the world. And of course, as my brother said, being the first week of the year, Happy New Year.
All right, a Happy New Year to you too, Kidi. We did not have you yesterday on the show, so perhaps I hope you had a good start of the year.
Without a doubt. I'm sorry I was unable to join in yesterday, being our first show this year. Yes, I was making sure that I am able to put other things in order so that I am able to show up on Punchline every single day.
No problem. It is a pleasure to have you. And we're also joined by Douglas Kirimi, all the way from Meru County there. And Douglas is one person who does not hold his thoughts. He just says it as he says it. He speaks his mind and, says what perhaps a lot of us sometimes are not able to say, but he says it. So good morning, Douglas, all the way from Meru.
Good morning, Miriam. Good morning to our crew in Nairobi, and good morning to my friend Wakili Kidimwaga. Good morning to my friend Jevan, and good morning to all our friends in the world, and also good afternoon and also good evening to those people that will speak their minds this year. This is the year of saying the truth and also telling each other the truth.
All right, so let's look at some truth here, and that is in regards to the statistics before we get into the headlines this morning. And Kenya, as we speak right now, the confirmed cases stands at 96,908 cases. The death toll is 1,686. Recoveries stands at 79,257. Uganda, the numbers are standing at 36,050 confirmed cases. 274 people have died in Uganda, 12,267 have recovered so far. And the total cases in Africa this morning is 2,625,961 cases. The death toll in the continent has topped 91,005. Recoveries is at 2,530,222. And the global cases stands at 86,107,961, and the global deaths have surpassed 1.8 million cases, and the global recoveries have surpassed 61,059,766. And of course, these global figures are subject to change because every country, each country, they update their confirmed cases as their latest statistics as they receive them. So if you go online there, you might find different statistics because this was prepared just a couple of minutes ago. So that is where we are this morning, and good morning to you. Still, we urge you to keep wearing your mask, social distance, sanitize, and wash your hands. Those are the sure ways of protecting yourself against COVID-19. It is ravaging lives, it is ravaging countries and economies, but somehow this has become our new normal, so we have to go on about our lives. In the meantime, make sure you do that safely. So let's just get into our headlines this morning, and we start with the Star newspaper. BBI, Uhuru allies blame DP Ruto, attack Kenyatta camp claims Murang'a senator is planning to join Tanga, and the story is on page 6. Douglas, these people are just speaking your mind. This is what you were saying yesterday. Maybe they were watching, I don't know, but let's just see what the Star is saying this morning. So a major split has rocked President Uhuru Kenyatta's Mount Kenya backyard that now threatens to scuttle the Building Bridges initiative and the camaraderie with ODM leader Raila Odinga. Uhuru's allies have claimed Deputy President William Ruto is the hand behind the political turmoil, including the letter by Senate Majority Whip Irungu Kenyatta, in which he warned that the proposed BBI referendum faces spectacular defeat in the region. But the letter has also triggered political suspicion in Raila's camp that it could be testing ground by some influential individuals to completely abandon the BBI process. Up to there, I'll start with you, Kidi. What do you make of that letter by Kenyatta? And yesterday, I think he was attending a burial ceremony. Was it in Nakuru? And then when, reporters there approached him to clarify this letter or to give an opinion, he did not even respond to that. So he evaded the press. If this letter came from him, if you say something and you surely believe in it, you should be able to back it up. I mean, you're a lawyer, surely.
Let me tell you that my first reaction to this letter was that the president's side was sending signals to abandon the BBI train. But then God works in mysterious ways, because yesterday, then we see Kenyatta even being given an opportunity by my sister Sabina Chege to respond to the contents of his letter. And then to our chagrin and dismay is that Irungu Kenyatta chose not to respond to the contents of his own letter, which then the preliminary issues that come out is that one, he is therefore definitely not speaking for the president. Two, he does not speak for the Mount Kenya leadership as it is. And three, it also points out to a possibility, because this is how I am speculating, looking at all the facts as they're coming out, is that Irungu Kenyatta may have fallen victim to the politics of enticement by the forces that are anti-BBI process. And because, for instance, Kenyatta says something that I find very mischievous, that Mount Kenya has got, that the BBI document enjoys a 20% support in the BBI, in the Mount Kenya region. But when he is saying this, he is also not pointing out that we have not gone there and done public participation, that we've not gone there and done the town hall meetings. He is not pointing out that, well, one, this document, as it is, we've only finished collection of the signatures. So, well, first to answer your question, and of course now that we are speculating, considering that Kenyatta has chosen the path of dishonor because he squandered the opportunity to set the record straight when he was given that opportunity, that he could be speaking for the forces that have wanted to scuttle this process from the beginning, and he could be their latest signing.
All right. Douglas, I know you cannot wait, but Kidi is saying this letter by Kenyatta is mischievous.
Miriam, I said yesterday that Mount Kenya region is a region of 11 counties, and this region has their own leaders, and even Murang'a County has their own leaders. Murang'a Governor, Senator Irungu Kenyatta went on rampage when he wrote that letter, and he said, whereas most of the respondents are from Murang'a County, that is where he finished himself and also exposed his foreign, and also exposed the stupid letter that was written from Arambe Annex, written by Dennis Itumbi, and it was also disseminated by Tanga people who are happy that the president and also the people from Mount Kenya region are said to be at 20% in support of BBI. Miriam, I asked a very candid question that I will ask again. In Murang'a County, where the Murang'a senator, distinguished senator for Murang'a, Dr. Irungu Kenyatta said that the people of Murang'a have said at a 20% support, they support BBI, and the rest of 80% of Mount Kenya people don't support BBI. When did the people of Mount Kenya appoint Muranga people, especially the people of Kiaru, where Muranga Senator comes from, as our spokespeople? Because in Meru, in Tharaka Nithi, and in Embu, and Kirinyaga, we have not seen the poll that was run by Irungu Kenyatta. In Nyeri, we have not seen the poll that has been run by Irungu Kenyatta asking the ordinary people and the ordinary folks in Kiambu, where the president comes. Where did Irungu Kenyatta run his own survey where he says it is not even scientific? We should not even go where it is scientific. We should go. How many people in Meru responded to that? We saw the governor for Meru respond to that and also appended his signature and also condemned that. As a resident of Central Province and also what is called the Raja Central Voting Bloc, we condemn what Kenyatta is doing today because Kenyatta is on his way to Tangatanga. Kenyatta came from Tangatanga, and to Tangatanga he has returned. This morning, I continue my call for his resignation as a whip. He should be de-whipped himself as a Senate Majority Whip, because Miriam, at this point, we cannot afford the people who we have spent taxpayers in this process. We have spent millions and billions of money in this process. The first process, the second, and the third process. And at this point now, what Kenyatta is telling us is that the president and his people who are in Mount Kenya, who we also belong to, want to also abandon the BBI train. I want to correct Kindi. Nobody is sending signals here. These are taxpayers' money, billions of money that Kenyatta himself cannot afford to be able to fund BBI process. This is a process owed by Kenyans.
Okay.
It is true the process permitted from the Right Honorable Raila Odinga and the President of the Republic of Kenya, but the people of Kenya have an input in it. It is a process and a project that is owed by Kenyans.
All right.
What Irungu Kenyatta is doing today, it is for his own political expediency and his own stomach. And where he talked about it in his letter, that the people of Kenya should be given an opportunity to fund this process and also get these MPs to be funded so that they can support BBI. That is where the push has come to the shore. That Irungu Kenyatta, distinguished senator from Muranga, has come out as a leader who wants to eat BBI funds. Instead of BBI funds being used to print blue crates for the people of Meru and other people in Mount Kenya to see it, Irungu Kenyatta has chosen the path, the risky path, where he wants to eat the money alone. And this is a corrupt man who has been tarnished using Tangatanga Sturena Road and Kimorel Dam money, and now he wants to mortgage the people of Mount Kenya as one. We are not one, and we cannot speak through Irungu Kenyatta, who is a senator, a mere senator from Muranga.
All right.
Small county in over 11 counties, Miriam.
Okay.
And before I conclude, Senator from Muranga, please resign before you rock Jubilee and also rock the BBI process, because on 21st of June, 2020, we shall have a referendum in this country and we shall change the constitution of this country. Thank you.
All right, very well.
Let me say something before we proceed.
Okay, before I go to Javen. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you. My brother is saying that he is correcting me that no one is sending signals. I said that was my initial thinking.
Yes.
That is it that the president's side have developed cold feet and therefore sending feelers. But then Kenyatta promptly came out to demonstrate that one, he is not speaking on behalf of the president, two, he is not speaking on behalf of Mount Kenya, and as such, that therefore demonstrates that president's commitment to the BBI process remains unchanged. Thank you.
I will withdraw, Kitty.
All right, very well. Okay, now that we have clarity, let me just get to Javen there. And we're reading from the Star newspaper there on page 6 saying Uhuru allies see Ruto's hidden hand in Kenyatta's letter and Mount Kenya rebellion. National Assembly Majority Leader Amos Kimunya trashed Kenyatta's move as careless and immature and alleged it's a plot by Ruto political axis to turn the tide against the BBI. Could Amos Kimunya be having some grounds on these claims? Javen.
Yeah, thank you very much. And before I answer that question, whether Amos Kimunya is speaking the minds of Mount Kenya region or not, let me have this to say. Irungu Kenyatta, initially, before he joined the side of the president, and as I was telling you yesterday, he was a Tangatanga diehard. He supported the deputy president, and they crisscrossed Mount Kenya region, campaigning for this Hazarism agenda. And therefore, it's not a surprise that he is trying to go back to where he came from. And that is something that quite happens in politics of this country. And therefore, Irungu Kenyatta was just somebody who came and hid under the umbrella of the President Uhuru Kenyatta so that he can gain one or two, three things. Because Irungu Kenyatta is one man who takes advantage of situations, and because of the scenario that was there in Jubilee, and he knew what would happen. That is when he started supporting the president so that he could remain relevant. And before that, he was the deputy chief whip. And after that disciplinary action that was taken to those members of parliament in Senate and Parliament in the National Assembly who were quite defiant, he ascended to be the chief whip, a position that was initially held by the senator for Nakuru, Susan Kihika. Therefore, there's nothing new that Senator Kenyatta is saying. He's just tried to hide his true colors and the umbrella of the handshake, but he is coming now out to reveal who he is and where his heart belongs. He belongs to the deputy president. Number two thing, Miriam and Douglas and Kidi will agree with this, is that in Mount Kenya region, let me have this to say, deputy president has sponsored people to come around poisoning the minds of the people of Mount Kenya region, to bring divisions and to make them hate the president of the day, Uhuru Kenyatta, who happens to come the same region. That is why you find people in Mount Kenya region, they are quite, they are easily incited against projects that are being done by the President Uhuru Kenyatta. And we have seen even during the holidays, the December holiday, some of people from this region saying that they will abandon the train from Nanyuki and Nairobi to Nanyuki because it was initiated and commissioned by President Uhuru Kenyatta. Therefore, this kind of hate and a bad seed that is in Mount Kenya region was planted by Deputy President and his supporters in Tangatangas, and they have tried to portray an image of a president who hates his people, a president who is not working to make the region develop. But that is a lie, because when you go to this region, President Uhuru Kenyatta has made sure that developments are taken across the country. And to be more specific, he has also concentrated on his backyard, because they have seen more national projects in this area. Therefore, this kind of hate, and Irungu Kenyatta was part of that team that was going around portraying a bad image of the president in this region. Therefore, he belongs to Tangatanga, and he should pack and be whipped in Senate, and he go back where he comes from, and he joined the likes of Murkomen and the bitter team of Murkomen and Kidiki, who are always bitter with the president. And anything, motion sponsored by the government in the Senate or in the National Assembly, the likes of Duale will not support it, whether it benefits their people, because they have come from the State House. Number two, Amos Kemunya have said it as it is. Nobody has appointed Senator Irungu Kenyatta to be the spokesman of Mount Kenya region. And the survey that he purports to have done was carried out specifically in Kiharu. And maybe the people who answered this question, these were people who are maybe given a preview of what they should say in those questions. Therefore, there's nothing he is telling us about the 20%, because you have not gone out there to campaign for the BBI. We are still on the signature verification. Then after that, that is when we hit ground after it's gone to the county assemblies and people start campaigning for it. Then from there, he can come out clear and come and conduct a research. And this time round, he need to go around the Mount Kenya region. And yesterday, Miriam, we saw 10 governors from this region saying that they still support the BBI. Therefore, 10 governors are compared to one senator who speaks for his own stomach. Then you can see the region is prepared.
So you're agreeing, you're agreeing with what Amos Kimunya said, that the move by Kenyatta is quite immature, in the sense that even campaigns about the to popularize the BBI in the Mount Kenya region and perhaps other parts of the country have not taken place yet. So it's immature to come out and now give the figures as to what percentage supports the BBI process there in Mount Kenya region, because we are still in the early stages of the report. Is that what you're saying? You're agreeing with what he said, that it is immature to do that right now?
Yeah, it is quite early. And Miriam, as I was telling you, these people are continuing with planting the seed of hatred to President Uhuru Kenyatta. That is why they want to trash a BBI process that is sponsored by President Uhuru Kenyatta. Therefore, it is quite early, because we are not still there. We have not gone for the campaigns. Now we cannot predict the number of people who will support the BBI unless we have campaign and we have gone through the grounds. those people who don't support and those who support, and we do a comparison of how things are on the ground. That is the time that Irungu Kenyatta will come. That will be right time for him to come and try to bring these figures and try to show how Mount Kenya region supports or don't support the BBI. And finally, Miriam, BBI is not a process for Mount Kenya region. It's a process for the whole country called Kenya. Therefore, we cannot reduce this BBI process to be a process of Mount Kenya region and the Rift Valley people. And the Miriam, time is ripe that other communities in this country, they should make their voice heard. They have been intimidated by two communities for a long period of time. And the Miriam, one core reason that the people of Mount Kenya and those who in the Rift Valley, where William Ruto comes from, the reason why they feel they will not support the BBI is because they see other communities will come in the helm of power. And they are quite in disagreement with that because they want to continue rising in this politics of using their communities to be in power. But because people are being eye-opened through BBI and to see other communities as part and parcel of this country, that is why those people who drive in divisions, those people who drive in insults, they are not happy with the BBI process. And that's why they keep inciting their communities not to vote for this BBI process.
All right.
Thank you.
Very well, thank you, Jevan Karanja there from
William,
UK.
just to add on,
I'm coming. Yes, but I'm coming to you, Kidi. So let me just read just a part of his what KPP member of Parliament there said, and then you can respond as you answer to what the panelists there have said. So he continued to say, that is Amos Kimunya. If you read the letter that Kenyatta purportedly wrote. No, I think he said he wrote it and then he tweeted he did not and then he said he did and then now we are confused. But if you read the letter, that is what Amos Kimunya is saying. It is what has been opposition of Karen, that is Ruto's official residence, on the BBI. I even doubt whether the senator is the sole author of the letter, the KPP member of Parliament told the Star. I wouldn't want to judge him, but his actions and content of letter seem to be an extension of Karen. That was a very careless attempt to attract attention of the boss by purporting to write a letter to him and copying it to the media. That is totally immature. Now we know that the DP has been trying to find, if going by this argument by Amos Kimunya, the DP has been trying to stall the process of the BBI. He's not been in agreement with the whole process from the handshake to where it is right now. And he's been seeking for changes, consensus, let's have a multiple choice referendum. Let's have a referendum the same day as election. So it appears, whatever he wanted, and some of the things were considered and put included in the BBI that Kenyans appended their signature to. But there are things that he wanted that perhaps now it's a bit too late. They've been, passed with time, cannot be included there. That is the multiple choice, and these are the things that he wanted. And so could this be, if we were to go with what Amos Kimunya is saying, could this be our DPs? Because Amos Kimunya is saying this is a letter that has been authored from Karen. That is the DP's official residence there in Karen. Could this be the latest move by a deputy president and his camp to destabilize the process after other strategies have failed?
It speaks to what I said when you first gave me the opportunity to speak. Mm-hmm. That looking at all this and looking at how Senator Kenyatta has behaved after the supposed leak, it points one that he does not speak for the president. So that if and when he was speaking for the president or for the Mount Kenya establishment, he would have seen. But as it is, that Kenyatta does not speak, possibly speaks for the Hustlers Mansion. And let me explain why he's speaking for the Hustlers Mansion. Kenyatta has, before he had a Damascus moment, was flirting with the Tanga. Then along the way, he must have had a Damascus moment, and then he came to the president's side. And of course, he was tasked with the responsibility of leading the Jubilee troops. Of course, our troops, because I'm also in Jubilee, courtesy of the post-coalition agreement that my party and Jubilee had. He was tasked with the responsibility of leading our troops in parliament. We know that there are a number of people in this country whose politics has thrived, one, on corruption, two, on stroking ethnic fears and tribal animosity. These are things that BBI was seeking to course correct. If this course correcting takes place, there are a number of politicians whose careers would definitely come to an end because they would now realize that they're in a world that they are ill-equipped for. Some of these people include, but not limited to, William Ruto. And therefore, having attempted all the tricks on the book, and all these tricks hitting a snag, finally, they've decided to use a child of the president to try to undermine the president, the same way Absalom, being the son of the king, was used to, rebelled against the king. So Kenyatta is a bad child for the president, and is definitely not speaking for the president.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you, Kidi. So as we continue with this story and the content of that letter that really has, caused a lot of storm in the political field here in the country. So this is what, Amos Kimunya continues to say. Part of the story on page 6 of the Star newspaper says he also wants no use of provincial. That is part of the letter that, Kenyatta wrote to President Uhuru Kenyatta. He also wants to use no use of provincial administrators, a multiple question referendum, and a jubilee to bend backwards in dealing with the party. That was part of that letter. And for him to say that he wants a multiple a choice referendum, I mean, that is synonymous with what the DP's key demands. And so there are questions as to why Kenyatta, a connected lawmaker in the Jubilee ranks, chose to address the president through an open letter and not through official channels. Weeks before the BBI signature were handed to the IEBC, Kenyatta was purportedly leading the Uhuru faction for the consensus with Ruto's axis on contentious BBI proposals. And remember, we were having that conversation here, but we did not know who are these people who are trying to do the consensus. Remember, Katie, you're having that conversation here, but now apparently it's Kenyatta who was leading those consensus now. Okay, well, if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, and then weeks before, yes, for consensus with Ruto access to contentious BBI proposals, Ndaragwa Member of Parliament Jeremiah Kioni told the Star that Kenyatta's move is tactics of a person on the brink of defection. Douglas.
Miriam, in politics, you are guided by interest. Politics is not a fellowship. Politics is not a community social hall gathering, and it's not a women merry-go-round. Politics is just that, politics. So for Kenyatta to keep dragging the whole of Mount Kenya region by a survey that he did in his home in Murang'a, it is very wrong for him. If he wants to wake up in the morning, he needs to go without ceremony, the way nominated Senator Isaac Mwaura did. He should have joined a small meeting and said what he wanted to go there and get from Uhuru's side. He did not get it. So he would have gone without ceremony, without destroying what we have built over the years. Miriam, what perturbs my soul and what saddens my heart is this, that the senator for Murang'a would besmirk a multi-billion project using taxpayers' money for his own political expediency and survival. If the senator for Murang'a wants to join Tanga where he came, he should go back without necessarily dragging the BBI process into it. Murang'a senator is a Tanga adherent. He has been there and he is supposed to go back there. From Tanga he came, and to Tanga he shall go. And we have no problem with that. Actually, what the distinguished senator for Murang'a should do, Dr. Irungu Kenyatta, who is my friend, and I will write him a text today and tell him, Senator, resign and go to Tanga. If they have a majority whip there, they will give it in 2022 when they get into opposition. Because at this point, we cannot be able to bring the whole country in chaos. Because from yesterday, the man cannot even apologize to Kenyans for such a letter. He cannot apologize to president. He's just moving around as if nothing has happened. He has abused his office as a majority whip in Jubilee Party, and as Jubilee Party members, we should be able to ask our party ranks to be able to de-whip this man who has been whipping people in Senate. He should be whipped at this time and go to Tanga direct. Because Miriam, BBI is a noble project. BBI is not a political process that can be used by Uhuru Kenyatta, the senator for Murang'a, for his own political expedience, Miriam. And at this point, what I can only ask the senator for Murang'a is that even if he wants to stay in Jubilee, he needs to resign so that he can go and redeem himself. He has to go and redeem himself, because at this point, we cannot afford a senator who is also a majority whip in Senate, who has been whipping members, and for disloyalty, he has been selling Jubilee short to Tanga. He's been selling the people of Kenya short to Tanga. This is the same man who has gone ahead and also mocked over 11 counties, over 6 million votes into a 20% support for BBI without our consent and without us seeing the survey that he has done in Mount Kenya, that he has told the president. It has been done majorly in Murang'a. How can Murang'a represent the people of Kirinyaga? How can the Murang'a people represent the people of Embu, the people of Nyeri? The senator from Murang'a needs to resign from today. Actually, we should not even be calling for his resignation. He should have resigned so that he can join deputy president into their wheelbarrow party. We have no time for such things, because at this point, we need to be able to come and pass BBI and also pass the referendum. Miriam, at this point, after spending taxpayers billions of money, Uhuru Kenyatta is talking about the popularity of BBI. Let us be fair. If it is true, we have a support of 1.2 million. How many votes do we need to pass BBI as a referendum across the nation? Is BBI the project for Mount Kenya alone? In this country, we have 44 tribes. BBI in Mount Kenya is has around 11 counties. Is BBI supposed to have a 90% or 99% turnout? Miriam, this is what I wanted to say yesterday, but I forgot. If BBI has 100% support in Mount Kenya, we would have bewitched the people of Mount Kenya, and that is not true to democracy. Democracy means that the people that support BBI will go ahead and support BBI, and the people that don't support BBI will go ahead and oppose it. And it has shown now in color, in black and white, that Uhuru Kenyatta, the senator from Murang'a, opposes BBI with his blood, his ventricles, and his arteries in his heart.
Okay.
He has been opposing this BBI report, and it is shown. Actually, before he denied yesterday, he had written another letter, the same font that he used to write the letter that he had besmirched BBI with. It is the same font that was used to write another letter. It shows you that Uhuru Kenyatta has taken money from Tanga, money that was meant to build dams for Aurora and Kimwarel people. People are suffering in Rift Valley, and Uhuru Kenyatta has eaten a portion of that money. If Uhuru Kenyatta has not eaten not PPI, he has not eaten Aurora and Kimwarel money, he should tell us what he was doing with the deputy president in Serena Hotel in Mombasa. This is a man who has dishonorably told the people of Kenya we should fund a special office for BBI so that MPs can be facilitated so that they can be able to campaign for BBI. This is a majority whip in Senate, a man that has woken up and told Kenyans that now we should be able to give them millions of money, including Kenyatta himself, as if what he has eaten from Marol and Kimwale sponsors is not enough, so that he can support BBI in Murang'a. The governor for Murang'a went ahead and gathered the people of Murang'a, and they gave their signatures willingly. They left their jobs, their farms, they do dairy farming in Murang'a. They left their cows and gone ahead and also sent their signatures to the governor and also sent them to the BBI secretariat to be able to support this process. Where was Uhuru Kenyatta that day? How many meetings did he do to support BBI in Murang'a? So Miriam, as I conclude, the senator from Murang'a is going to Tanga, and before noon today should have called for a press conference and moved on the other side. In politics, nobody will beat him up. Except that you have brought him in faith as those people that support the president, nobody will beat him up. He needs to resign from his Senate seat without beating around the bush, and also tell the people of Murang'a he has betrayed them, that BBI is not serving his own personal interest, because this is a man that wants to take money meant for BBI booklets, BBI civic education, and eat it with his girlfriends and his wife Miriam. I submit.
Okay. All right. Very well. Thank you, Douglas. There from Meru County, and we are looking at the newspapers headlines here, and we are looking at the Star, particularly on page 6, that story that is on all the headlines of the major newspapers this morning, the letter by Uhuru Kenyatta, and yesterday he was given an opportunity to come out and clarify and, say if at all he supports, he still has the same feelings on that letter, and he was not able to do that. And so, when part of the letter there, the content, as I've read there earlier from this story, he wanted the provincial administrators to stop being used in terms of in the BBI process, and also a multiple question referendum. And of course, that is synonymous with what the Deputy President has been wanting, which contravenes what the Jubilee Party leadership actually wants. So if Uhuru Kenyatta, as a majority leader in the Senate, is supposed to be advancing the government position, but it seems to be taking a different position from that which the party organs and the party leadership and the party wants him to do. Is he still the right person, Jevan, to continue advancing the government's agenda in the Senate?
Miriam, he is not the right person. That is a direct question. He is not the right person to continue reading the government agenda in the floor of the Senate, because Miriam, now it is clear that he supports those people from the Tanga, and that is where he comes from, because he can't come now when we have already gone ahead and the BBI team have said that there's no more amendments to the BBI document as it is now. And now he supports, he is echoing exactly what the Deputy President was saying, that we should have a multiple choice referendum. And that is something that I feel like he is just saying it because he belongs to Tanga. And he was just a spy who came to the handshake team to see how things are done, so that he can go out there and sell some of 2-3 things, the plans and the agenda or the roadmap to the BBI process to the Tanga wing. Because Miriam, how will he continue sponsoring government agenda in the floor of the Senate when he has gone to bed with those people who are against the government? Because Miriam, as we speak now, Tanga wing of Jubilee is the new opposition. And the funny thing with this opposition that we have, it is not the opposition that is doing checks and balance to the government. It is not an opposition that can be called a government in waiting. They are just opposing and sabotaging government agenda because they are bitter with President Uhuru Kenyatta, merely because of the fact that he brought Raila Amolo Odinga into all this process through the handshake. And that is why these Tangas are bitter, because to them, when you look at the likes of Moses Kuria, they have derived politically by issuing insults and threatening people of Mount Kenya region that if you elect Raila Amolo Odinga to be the president, you people will suffer, your land will be taken away, this man is not good, he has a revenge against Kikuyus because of 1 or 2, 3 things that don't exist in history. That is why they are bitter, and that is why they feel like they can beat up the president, because merely he brought the former prime minister through this handshake. And Uhuru Kenyatta is also part of that team. That is why he is bitter with the president. And Miriam, today, if it happens, and it will not happen, that President Uhuru Kenyatta today, they disagree with the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, if there are people who will celebrate in this country are the people called Tangas, because that is their prayer. They pray that today, that Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga, they will not read from the same script, because to them, they want divisions. They don't want unity. They want a country that is divided so that they can continue thriving politically, so that they can continue engaging in corruption deeds. Because, Miriam, when the country is divided and the leadership is not reading from the same script, it is easy to engage in corruption deeds, because nobody will hold you accountable, because you'll have a force that will come and defend you, and the others will try to take you to a court of law. That is what the Tangas wish. But it's hypocritical. But the same Tangas who are bitter with President Uhuru Kenyatta joining forces with the former Prime Minister, not for the sake of ruling the country, but for the sake of uniting the country, because the deputy president remains the principal assistant of the president. They are bitter. They are bitter of that handshake, but they are not bitter that the deputy president has become defiant, that the deputy president is sabotaging the government agenda, that the deputy president is promising things that do not exist even in the government dispensation. He is commissioning roads that are not in the government agenda. They championed that. That is hypocritical of the highest order, and they have continued to sell this seed of disunity, this seed of disharmony across this country. And when they go in every place, when they go to Kisii, they tell people that this is Hustle Azim agenda, and we talk for the purpose of the mama boggers, and we are here to champion for the rights of boda guys, because they have been intimidated. Intimidated by who? And you are part of the government. And Miriam, it's hypocritical that the same people who are dividing this country through that political, the class struggle of Hasraf as his dynasties, are the same people who want to divide this country more across its regional and ethnic channels, so that this country will not be united. Therefore, I will urge the president and those people who support the handshake and the BBI to continue and to bring BBI into a conclusion. They should not be deterred by the voices of Uhuru Kenyatta and those people who hate unity for this country, and those people who feel that this country will not be safe when we are united. This country belongs to all communities, and it's high time, as I was saying earlier, all other communities should be brought in board. These things should not be reduced to be a Kikuyu, Kalenjin affair. This country is bigger than all these communities, and this country belongs to all of us.
All right.
Therefore, Uhuru Kenyatta, from today, he should be whipped, and somebody else should be given that role, not merely from Mount Kenya region, but a competent senator who supports the agenda of the government, whether he comes from ODM or Wiper or any other party, provided will support the government of Uhuru Kenyatta, and to see him complete his agenda and legacy. That is the person we need at the Senate as the chief whip.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
And just a reminder, ODM is not really in government. That handshake, as Raila there has time and time said, that handshake was meant for a greater good of uniting Kenyans, but he's not, and he's reiterated before, Jubilee government has their own agenda. President Uhuru Kenyatta has his own legacy, pegged on the Big Four agenda. And so even the other time when they were launching that BBI, he was saying, let the Jubilee government, meet and implement the promises that they give to Kenyans. So ODM is still in opposition, I want to believe. Richard K. Rotich, thank you so much for watching us this morning, and all divergent views are welcome. And if you want to join us and you feel that we don't have alternative voices, if you want to be that alternative voice, we welcome you to join us. You can contact us, and then we can get in touch with you, and you can join us and be part of this conversation in Zoom. So you're welcome. Wherever you feel that you want to join us, you're welcome to do so. Or if you know anybody who will be wishing to come and be that alternative voice you're saying, they're welcome, because this is a national conversation, and so every voice matters, and we keep talking about it. Perhaps it might come to a point of agreeing to disagree, but something that can move this country forward. So thank you so much for watching and for being part of the show this morning. Now, following the development, there is a feeling in ODM camp that President Kenyatta might not be fully committed to the BBI and that Raila could be abandoned. Homa Bay MP Peter Kaluma, in a tweet, I'm still reading from the same story from the Star newspaper, page 6. Kaluma, in a tweet that he hurriedly deleted, sounded the alarm of imminent betrayal. He said the letter was not the senator's handwriting. We are not welded to anyone. Let no one blackmail us. We've seen it all. We are suicidal. We'll be Solomon if you play with us. We can be Samson if you play games with us. Read the tweet, which the lawmaker later acclaimed was about the 2022 Homa Bay governor race. When contacted, he said, we are with Uhuru to the end. Once you make your bed, you must lie on it. So we've seen there the reaction, but of course he quickly deleted that tweet. But this confusion and this discord, do you think this was the intention of this letter, Kidi, and somehow it is succeeding to do whatever it was set out to do? Kidi.
Yes. Kindly repeat the question again, dear. William.
Okay, so now the Homa Bay Senator Peter Kaluma, he tweeted, no, Homa Bay Member of Parliament Peter Kaluma tweeted, and a tweet that he hurriedly deleted there, and he said, he sounded the alarm of imminent betrayal. He said the letter was not the senator's handwriting. We are not welded to anyone. Let no one blackmail us. We've seen it all. We are suicidal. We will be Solomon if you play with us. We can be Samson if you play games with us. Read the tweet, which the lawmaker later claimed was about the 2022 Homa Bay governor race. When contacted, he said, "We are with Uhuru to the end. Once you make your bed, you must lie in it." Of course, there must be some feeling of jitteriness or anxiety or confusion, especially from the ODM side or the parties that make up, the handshake and the BBI, team there. So this confusion and this discord, that this letter seems to perhaps, I don't know if it has sown or it might, or it has put ideas or some, in other people's minds. Do you think this was one of the intentions, perhaps, to bring that confusion and to sow the seed of discord?
The drafters of this letter are a very conniving lot. Conniving because, one, they appreciate that we live in a country that has endured decades of ethnic suspicion and tribal animosity. Those fears can easily be stroked, especially, and that is why, part of why you realize that the principles to the handshake were keen to engage in direct diplomacy as opposed to having structured conversations. Some of the biggest critics of the BBI process have said that BBI process was personalized, but they've stopped there. They've not gone ahead and told us the benefits of why the principles personalized the BBI, the handshake, and the subsequent BBI process. The personalization was to ensure that the process was insulated from the political intrigues and ethnic suspicion that all, of course, BBI was seeking to cure. So the drafters of this, knowing this, there are people around Prime Minister Raila Odinga and people around the president who would easily be excitable by careless statements like the letter that is attributed to Kenyatta. So one thing that the letter effectively achieved, in a small way though, was to heighten those fears. But because the president and the prime minister are in charge of this process, they are easily going to whip their members, especially those who are genuinely loyal to them, back into life. And I don't think that the confusion that the letter was generating, especially now that we are able to point out that it is a scheme of the evil forces, definitely it is not going to achieve much. Yes.
All right. Very well, Douglas. The story concludes by saying, but 10 Mount Kenya governors in a press statement termed the senator's remarks as irresponsible, cheap, and populist. To intimate that the Mount Kenya region is opposed to the document at this stage is not only preposterous, but also serious misrepresentation of facts and reality. And we repeat, very immature, they said, this team of 10 Mount Kenya governors. So by these leaders coming out quickly and refuting these claims and dismissing that letter and the content of that letter, do you think this will restore some level of perhaps, some level of hope and, to the process, maybe a damage control to what the letter might have caused there, Douglas, moving forward?
Miriam, there is no damage control that is being done. Mm-hmm. And there is nothing that is going to change. The same people in Mount Kenya are the same people who gave signatures It's not even about 2 months when they gave out their signatures. What has changed between now? Did they go and celebrate Christmas from the money that Irungu Kenyatta was given from Arora and Kimwarel dams? Did they celebrate Christmas with that money and change their minds? Over 11 counties and 6 million voters. Miriam, let's be realistic. When an hyena wants to eat its children, it claims that they are smelling like goats. So at this point, Irungu Kenyatta is, Miriam, I want to remind you again, Irungu Kenyatta is senator for Murang'a. And we have Nyandarua, we have Laikipia, we have Meru, we have Tharaka Nithi, we have Embu, with all those places. And they have people, they have governors. Remember, the governor for Meru is Karaito Murungi. Irungu Kenyatta, I've never seen Irungu Kenyatta in Meru. And I also heard someone say he has never seen Irungu Kenyatta in Migori. Someone else was saying they have never seen Irungu Kenyatta in Nakuru, speaking about the people of Nakuru and Migori. I've never seen Irungu Kenyatta in Busia. Maybe Kitty went for holidays, they can tell us if in Migori they're opposing BBI and all that. Miriam, at this point, there is nothing in Mount Kenya that can be able to change about Irungu Kenyatta. Irungu Kenyatta comes from Kiaro, and maybe he can speak for his family and his wife, but as people, as politicians, as leaders, as residents, there is nothing that Irungu Kenyatta can change in Mount Kenya, Miriam. Remember, Mount Kenya does not rely on Irungu Kenyatta to do a survey for them to be able to say if they can support BBI or not. Remember, in as much as BBI is a national process, the biggest beneficiaries in this process are from Mount Kenya region. And the people of Mount Kenya know what they want. We were told these signatures will not come even at a 10 or 20 signatures from Mount Kenya region. We saw what was presented at the BBI secretariat from the region. At this point, Miriam, we need to tell the truth about Irungu Kenyatta. Irungu Kenyatta is a corrupt politician who has dipped his hands into the corrupt coffers, that the money that was rooted from Arora and Kimwarel and other places by William Ruto and the surrogates, he has been able to take that money and he wants to bring us to the fold as a people, as a region. And in 21st century, why are we doing regional politics? Why is even Irungu Kenyatta dragging our whole region in a national process? This is a national healing and reconciliation process. This is not an Irungu Kenyatta process. Irungu Kenyatta did not bring BBI to Mount Kenya. Irungu Kenyatta cannot take away BBI from the people of Mount Kenya. And for that matter, he cannot be able to make a decision for us as a people. For our governors to come out and tell off Irungu Kenyatta, that is right. I actually saw his governor, Mwangi Wairia. In that signature, he appended his signature. It is true that our people and our governors have been able to come out and also speak clearly and fluently over the same. But there was no erosion of confidence from the people. Because in less than a month, these people give out their signatures to the BBI process. And there's also something I want to also respond to. What Irungu Kenyatta was talking about, a multiple choice referendum, was sponsored from Tanga. Another thing, if Irungu Kenyatta today says that he doesn't want provincial administration from coming out and also helping the BBI process, getting signatures and also pushing for the BBI agenda, what does Irungu Kenyatta want?
That is also what I think DP Ruto was saying, and Martha Karua, who are opposed to the BBI process, they were saying, why are they using the provincial system there to help in the BBI process? So Kenyatta is just echoing their sentiments there.
Let me answer you. He is coming from Linda Katiba. He shall return from there. He shall return to Linda Katiba. Right. We are not interested in shenanigans.
Douglas, thank you.
This issue of using provincial administration, Miriam, just a moment, in a moment. This issue of using provincial administration is not even to the benefit of majority whip, because for him, he wants a fully funded office. He said, actually, in that letter he has written, a fully resourced office to be able to handle MPs. How best can they be handled without being given money? It is perceived that the provincial administration is governing resources that Irungu Kenyatta and the surrogates are supposed to be taking. Remember, Irungu Kenyatta in that letter said, for example, in Kangema, Peter Kigano, the MP, the Roya MP for Kangema, and the opponents are actually also angering for the same thing. They are marketing BBI. Irungu Kenyatta has a problem with the people marketing BBI, and it's not himself, including provincial administration. He perceives that there is a lot of money that is poured in millions, and he wants that money channeled into a special office that has a majority whip and also a majority whip from the region. He can be able to control and also take that money, scatter the process, and return to Tanga. That is not going to happen. It is not going to happen that way, Miriam. Again, why we have not had people from Nyanza asking for a special funded Secretary General's office. It is only coming from Irungu Kenyatta. Irungu Kenyatta must know that BBI as a whole, fully functional secretariat that can be able to run issues without necessarily engaging a fully funded office of the Secretary General. What Irungu Kenyatta is telling us that is taxpayers should be able to use more millions to fund Irungu Kenyatta instead of doing his democratic right on 21st of June 2021 this year and voting for BBI. He wants to use the next 4 months or 3 months eating and gobbling our own money, our own resources. That is money that can be used to advance a better cause, like Miriam in Meru. Before I conclude, in Meru, Uhuru Kenyatta has built bypasses all over Meru town. He has built 2.99 billion bypasses in Meru. Irungu Kenyatta doesn't want that money go develop Muranga, and also like people of Meru have been able to get bypasses from Uhuru Kenyatta. Meru town has been able to be opened. Irungu Kenyatta, what he wants, he just wants that so that he can eat with a few politicians.
All right, so it
and that is
down
what
to
Uhuru
finding,
Kenyatta does not want.
And that is the bone he's speaking with the provincial administration, being part of the BBI, because they're missing out on the money. That's what you're saying. And of course,
Yes.
yeah, they say they want a fully resourced office there. All right, so very well. Let's finish with a comment here from Kioni. We read it earlier, and then Chevan, you can respond and conclude the show for us. He said, Kioni, he's looking for a reason. Kagata is looking for a reason to defect to Tanga as the majority whip. He has access to President 24/7, hence has no justification for what he did. Such behavior is in keeping with a weak person. I am disappointed with such an approach. He is quick to look at why the BBI should fail. We even think it may have been a mistake to pick him, Senate Whip, Kioni added. Jevan, end it for us.
Thank you very much. And it was a mistake in the first place to trust somebody who came from Tanga to be the chief whip in the floor of the Senate. And that was a mistake. And Miriam, because from the stories that we had, and nobody appointed them, is just somebody who said Irungu Kenyatta in that senators meeting, and definitely he became the chief whip. I think that is a mistake. And we have a time, as a Jubilee party, they have time to rectify and to bring a person of a competent character, reputable character to be in that position. And for Irungu Kenyatta, he can go back to the ODM party, and he used a very bad medium to convey his message, because he could have contacted the president directly through his phone, or through a message or so on, or he could have visited the president at his residence in State House. Therefore, these are voices from the Tanga. And Miriam, I feel like the Tanga used Irungu Kenyatta because he purports to be in the team of Uhuru Kenyatta. Because if this letter came from Moses Kuria or Didi Nyoro, or those people who support the deputy president and are opposed to the BBI, this letter should not have been taken seriously. But because they have come from an inner circle of those who support the BBI, I feel that is why they say it's safe to use Irungu Kenyatta, a close ally of the president, to convey the same message so that it can have the weight that it has. That is why it is covered in the media. That is why it is in the newspaper. And that is why the reason we are discussing it now. Because if this letter had come from the likes of Susan Kihika, nobody could be talking about it because that is a normal rhetoric to them. But this is a different tone from somebody who was championing for the BBI. That is why this message is heavy, and it carries the weight that it has. Therefore, let me say they were smart on using Irungu Kenyatta because he is a spy in the BBI committee. And the next time, when the Jubilee administration and the government in future, they should go for those people who are loyal and those people who they can trust with their confidential information or who they can rely on, and those people cannot be used as spy with other quarters or to disorganize the process like a normal process of the BBI.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Javan Karanja from Nanyuki, thank you. Douglas Kirimi from Meru, thank you so much. And Kidi Mwanga from right here in the capital city of Kenya, here in Nairobi. Thank you so much, Kidi. Now, one of our viewers here, Howard Openjuru, you're saying, we wonder whether other African countries also have the worst parliament like Uganda has got since dictator Museveni came to power. The parliament of Uganda is controlled by oppressor Museveni, his gang members, supporters and promoters, and that is the way dictator Museveni wants it, all the control in parliament. All right, you go ahead, and it's such a long letter. And you're saying, you're ending by saying Africans must know development and modernity won't come easily to Africa. We love you all for God and for country. That seems to be a very frustrated Ugandan there. And we know that Uganda is going to its elections in the next few days, I think on the 14th of this month. So we shall have a session, especially in our afternoon show or on Diplomatic Leaks next week. And we shall look at the issue on Uganda as the country readies for its first scientific election, which is a joke. A complete joke. I think the elections there in Uganda is just, I have no word for it. But today at 11 a.m., please join us as we shall be looking at Central Africa Republic, the country that has just come out of another election. And I think they're reading for another part of the election. So we shall see what's really happening there and what is at stake and what are the latest developments there in Central Africa Republic, one of the countries that is considered to be among the richest countries in Africa, but also very poor in terms of minerals and natural resources there, that has been plagued by civil war. And if you know anything about even the former president Bozize, who was back in the country in 2019, and of course he brought up the opposition together and they were able to run against the government, and the government was accusing them of wanting to topple and cause mayhem in the country. So it's a lot. So we shall have all that, the conversation at 11 a.m. in our Diplomatic Leaks show for today. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Miriam Ogutu. A very good morning to you.